Welcome, everybody. Hello. Welcome to episode 2 of the Zelda podcast, the Kokiri Chronicles. This is a Zelda podcast to where I do this every third day in the month. If you guys have not seen episode 1 of my Zelda podcast, where I talked about my origin story on how I got into the Zelda series, all that good stuff in honor of the 38th anniversary of the Zelda franchise, y'all definitely should check it out right here on my YouTube channel. And also, last but not least, if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, please don't forget to do so by liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good jazz. It really helps me out. Also, give me a quick second real quick. Okay, alriday. So I had to do a little quick wipe, but yeah, so today, for today for this podcast, today is the 7-year anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And who would have thought it's already been 7 years already? That's crazy. That is so crazy. It's been so long that this game has already been out. And it's just been quite a wild ride. How long this Switch game has came out. But you know what? But apparently I am not alone on this one. I'm actually joined by some friends right here with me right now. So here are my friends. Say hello, you two.
Buongiorno DiGiorno, Maury's touring restaurant. How may I help you?
Yes, I would like to order some roast duck.
You got it. You can have all the ducks in the world.
Also, I love the fact that you said Breath of the Wild was a wild ride. I'm just saying.
I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong, though? But how are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Nice.
Doing good.
Nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves. So I guess we'll go in and start from the top of my screen. So that means, Sora, you are up.
Gotcha. Well, not much introduction needed. Most of y'all know me. I'm Sora. I'm just here. I troll the fart knocker all the time. I'm also known as a meme lord. I do my own thing on here. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and also he hates Donald Duck.
Yep, that I do. I don't know if your stream will pick up the sound clip, but this is a demonstration if it does.
Try it. Oh my god, that's funny. But yeah, there you have it. We do have Sora. Sora definitely loves Kingdom Hearts and also is one of the biggest Paper Mario fans I've ever met out there. Like yours truly. Yeah. But anyway, T. Shaw, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell some of us about yourself.
All right. Well, most of you already do know me at this point. I'm T. Shaw. I also troll the fart knocker.
Of course.
Typical fart knockery at its finest.
Oh my god. Y'all are impossible.
Yes.
But just, yeah, I stream as well. Just variety of stuff. Devil May Cry is just my main niche, so that's pretty much it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
your
with
bread
that.
and butter, your peanut butter and jelly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And then
coffee and creamer.
Yes, but also I'm sure you guys know, but we were supposed to have another friend join us. My best friend Katie Wayfinder, but unfortunately she could not make it because she's actually is feeling ill right now. So, honestly, we can just say, I guess you can say, guys, that she's definitely is with us in spirit right now while she's getting better and resting up. But
yeah,
y'all definitely need to go follow her. She definitely is a really good friend of mine. She loves Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon and Final Fantasy too. You guys are not following her.
Speaking of Katie, she's in the chat.
Yeah, I'm seeing her. I'm seeing her right in the Twitch chat. KT, hello, welcome in. I hope you are feeling better. I hope everything's going good for you right now. Hope everything's going good. But yeah, KT, I hope you are feeling better. Hope everything's going good. But anyway, gentlemen, so why are we here?
We're here because it's a breath of fresh air.
Oh, I mean, would you say it is a breath of fresh air?
We're also here to throw out some wild statements.
Yeah,
Yes.
some pretty wild statements. Also, KT says in Twitch chat, trying to rest and on some meds right now. KT, you got this. Though. We really do hope that you do feel better, though. You know, sending you all the love and support and for a speedy recovery.
Yes, get as much rest as possible.
Yes. Yeah, and we definitely hope you enjoy your stay. Okay, so anyway, y'all, so to go again and start things off. So we're gonna go ahead and rewind the clock back in time, and we're definitely gonna go one at a time. So I think it was around, I guess you can say, I think it was like 2014-ish. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a little clip to where we had Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Eiji Aonuma actually showing some beta footage of Breath of the Wild, and this is way before the Switch was a thing. You can definitely see both gentlemen like holding like a Wii U gamepad and like showing off like Link a little bit, like the world of Hyrule, what he can do, and then later on, you know, we saw some trailers though. Like kept saying like, oh, this game's coming out here, this game's coming out December in 2016, and then later, we got the Switch presentation in January 2017, and then, of course, they said, oh, this game is coming out in 2 months, which I think it's crazy. Now, so I'm going to ask you guys this question, but I'm going to do this part first, but my question is to you two, is what were y'all's thoughts on, like, the beta footage you guys saw, the gameplay trailers, like, how are you both feeling? Like, for me, I was hyped. I honestly thought it actually looked really cool. I thought it looked interesting to see Link with a new design and all that. I thought he looked really badass. Honestly, kind of figured that the world of Hyrule was going to be a lot bigger, kind of similar to like Twilight Princess, kind of a little bit. But I would say it looks very promising. Like I was really hyped for this game when it came out. Like when I saw the beta footage and all the trailers. But Sora, what were your thoughts on the trailers, like, when you saw everything for Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, so, like, back then, my thoughts were a little mixed, to be honest, because, like, I mean, obviously, this was back when it was known as Zelda U, like, that was just its beta title, and,
yep.
But, like, when I saw these trailers, I was thinking a number of things. I'm just like, okay, one, this game looks really cool. Like, I knew, you could see the ambition they were going for with it just in the trailer alone, even though they didn't show a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I got excited just because of that. However, one thing I was not too keen on in the beginning was Link's new design, actually. I wasn't sold on it right away, but it did grow on me later down the line. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is, you know, not many people were used to, like, Link actually wearing a blue new tunic. I mean, because honestly, you guys can agree that in past Zelda games, you know, Link has always been known for wearing his iconic green outfit, like, you know, the green outfit. Sometimes some incarnations, like Link from Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, has the chainmail on, and of course his signature cap, you know? But there's been times in past Zelda games to where he's actually has worn blue, but they were, like, different color palettes. Like kind of like the Zora tunic from Ocarina of Time, or like the blue defense tunic from Link's Awakening. For me and T-Shaw here, the Zora armor from Twilight Princess.
Yes.
But yeah, but most in the case in the past, you know, this is something that we were trying to like get used to, like being like see Link with a new design. Link kind of digging that little ponytail, which I thought looked really cool on him. But it kind of took us a while to get used to it. But I thought it looked cool.
It just really needed to grow on me because I was so used to that iconic look that he had, and the fact that they were basically changing that, I was like, okay, I'm not sure how to feel about this, but again, it did grow on me. And of course, you can get like the green tunic and stuff in the game, so it's not like it's not there now.
You can also get the tunic of the wild, of course, with other green tunics. If you do have the amiibos, that is.
Yeah, which I mean, I have amiibo cards, so.
Hey, that's fair. Any wave amiibo. T-Shaw,
They
what
were.
about you? How did you feel when you saw everything? Like, how did you feel when you saw like Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Aonuma like playing beta footage of Breath of the Wild, and when all the trailers dropped, including that Switch presentation trailer back in 2017 of January, way before the game came out?
Oh man, I'll be on like I was kind of in the same boat as Sora as well. I initially didn't like the design of Breath of the Wild Link. Just like the blue didn't really like set with me well. But then of course after just time and stuff like that, it grew on me, and I really love Link's design in the game. But just when I think back to it, especially like the first trailers, I remember just like my friend who or one of my childhood friends who is also like a really big Zelda guy and fan as well. Like he showed me the trailer and like all the beta footage and everything, and just part of me was like, this isn't Twilight Princess, because as most of you know, Twilight Princess is my favorite, and just
Same
like,
here.
I just I don't know, but just after watching more trailers and then the presentation and all that stuff, I just, this is gonna be a really cool game. Like, I can't wait to get my hands on it. So.
Exactly, and you know it's kind of funny that you brought that up, and I wanted to talk about this with both of you guys. So, do you guys remember when Wind Waker first got announced? Like when they showed the beta trailer for Wind Waker, like everyone saw the cartoon design, and everyone thought this is total crap. Like everyone did not like it. Everybody hated it. But then when the game came out, it was like, oh, never mind. We love it again. We already love it. This game's magical.
It ended up being one of the most popular games on the GameCube, actually.
Yeah,
it did, and that was kind of the thing that applied. Like, you know, everybody. Some people were like mixed on it with the whole like concept design, and all that with Link from Breath of the Wild, including Princess Zelda, which by the way, I will say I think she looks amazing. I think her Breath of the Wild counterpart looks really cool. Also, big shout out to Patricia Somerset for voicing our beloved Silent Princess. I think she did a really great job. Also a little shout out to her. I'm gonna definitely show this off, but I actually have an autograph from her that I got a couple of years ago. So I just thought I would show that off, telling me to saying her signature line, signed by Patricia Somerset. So I just thought I'd show that off.
That's awesome.
that is awesome.
Yeah, have never met Patricia, but I would love to meet her one day. I definitely would love to meet her. Okay.
That'd be cool. I actually have one more little side comment on one of the beta trailers, actually.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Seeing Link get chased by a Guardian back then in that trailer terrified me. But whenever he leapt off the horse and started like aiming his bow, getting ready to shoot at it, I was like, oh my lord, don't tell me.
Yeah, that was really cool. And the thing is, you know, back then we didn't know that the arrow that he was firing was called an ancient arrow. And for me, I will say, like, I kind of thought it was like some sort of like a different ice arrow, because, you know, we were kind of used to that, like in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker firing ice arrows. But now it's like we know this is an ancient arrow, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just saying, ancient arrows are so fun to use against Lynels.
They are, yeah, the
just
ancient
eat them
arrows
out
are
of the-
pretty fun to use. They really are. Also, looking at Twitch chat, we see KT and Bahamut showing all the love for Twilight Princess. Yes, you see, T-Shaw, we have love.
Yes.
We definitely do have love.
All the Twilight Princess love.
Absolutely.
Such a good game.
Absolutely. Now, one thing to talk about with Breath of the Wild, and this was kind of new in the air. So, normally in most Zelda games, you know, like in like 3D Zelda games and kind of a little bit in 2D, we were used to, like, whenever we hear like sounds from like the characters, like Link himself, like we just hear like a bunch of grunt noises or just like those little tidbits of clips. But this time, that honestly that we did not expect was the voice acting. Which of course, I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. But I want to know, how did you guys feel about the voice acting? Also, real quick, Twitch, Amber says Twilight Princess best game. I thought Skyward Sword was your favorite game. Did you change it again, Amber? I think Amber.
Speak for yourself, Kokiri. You change it all the time.
You do, Kokiri.
I could never. Enough of that. Enough of that. Cut. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so what are y'all's thoughts on the voice acting? T-Shaw?
I feel like it was a nice change of pace. Like, I mean, of course, like, there's only been one other, like, instance of voice acting in a Zelda game, but, it's best game after all. No, I'm kidding. The dongos! No. But I feel like it was, really a nice, pace. So, just, I mean, interpreting the voices that, the characters had in the previous games was nice, but it is also nice to hear like a more professional, official like way of like how to deter or like what the characters like implying. I guess I don't know. I like that they added voice acting and didn't like. I don't know. I'm glad that they didn't do like voice acting for every single NPC. They just do the just.
That's kind of something usual we're used to in most Zelda games.
I like that they did the traditional style in that way, but also had the voice acting. So.
Oh, absolutely. What about you, Sora? What were your thoughts of the voice acting in Breath of the Wild?
Okay, so my thoughts on its voice acting, I was kind of mixed, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
So the thing is, with Breath of the Wild, when I heard there was going to be voice acting in it, I was thinking, wait, what? They're going to add voice acting to a Zelda game? I was excited by the idea, because I'm like, we've had many Zelda games, and you have to read every little thing they're saying, right?
Yeah. Of course, that was like traditional Zelda.
With Breath of the Wild, they didn't really fully use it that much. And, like, the thing is, it was only really in the cutscenes that had, like, the memory war flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you're still having to read everything. But I'm also mixed with the voice acting itself, because some of the voice direction with these characters is really good, but then there's others that are questionable at best. To be honest, because I'm just sitting here like, okay, this character sounds good. This character, not so much. And mainly Zelda's voice took forever to grow on me because I didn't like the voice direction. And of course, Rivali, I don't like Rivali in general, but that's a whole rant for another day. Case in point, some of the characters, I think they sound really good. But some of them, I don't like the voice direction that much.
Yeah.
But I was happy that it was there, especially with it being the first game to actually introduce the voice acting. I wish the voice direction was a little bit better and that they fully used it. So, like, whenever you're talking to NPCs, there's actual voice dialogue instead of you having to still read everything, because it makes me wonder what the point of the voice acting even is, with how little they really use it.
Yeah, I totally do get what you mean, and I'm gonna kind of throw this example real quick, like kind of similar to like take Fire Emblem Three Houses. Like anytime like not just for the cutscenes, but for like when you talk to like an NPC or to somebody, there's always like voice acting going. And I know Tisha, I know you're a really big Fire Emblem fan. I'm sure you can definitely agree with that statement. Like how like it would like Fire Emblem, of course, was just like full like Three Houses was like full-fledged voice acting. Like every line, every dialogue was just voice acting.
Yeah, just it's interesting just because I want to say that Shadows of Valentia, the last Fire Emblem game that was released on the 3DS, was like the first one that had full-fledged like voice acting, but ones prior did have some voices to it, but it's like little clips of like
right.
let's go or something like that, or
Yeah,
just
it was.
little.
Yeah, it was just small tidbits though. Definitely small tidbits. For me, when I first heard about the voice acting for Breath of the Wild, I was both mixed and excited. Like, I honestly didn't think that we were gonna hear like Zelda talk, because mostly it was just like her like just making small sounds. Like, is there something going on? Like, she usually just like gasps a lot in some cases, or just excited, or just makes happy noises. But overall, I actually thought it was pretty good. I mean, I can understand like some of the voice acting could have been a little bit better, but
Yeah.
overall, I've actually thought it was pretty. I thought it was not too bad though. I actually did like it though.
Yeah, I'm not saying I didn't like any of it. I liked it overall. Just again, I just wish some of the voice direction was a bit better. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that and I really wish that they actually utilized the voice acting a lot more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, looking at Twitch chat, Elsa says, "I didn't know Zelda made noises." Like what? Yes, actually, in some 3D Zelda games, she actually made some noises. Like she would gasp, like if there was like something bad going on, or like if she would make excited noises, like if she was happy about something, like in Skyward Sword, she would like make happy noises, like anytime she would see Link.
One notable one that really gets on my nerves every single time is whenever I play Ocarina of Time, and during the escape sequence from Hyrule Castle, I make one little move that Zelda doesn't like, and she's like, "Ah!"
Oh yeah, she does that like every time you get hit. Like even when you fight Ganon, she even screams, like knowing like how you get upset.
Yeah, and I'm just like, calm down, Zelda. I'm fine. I can handle it. I'm a big boy.
Twitch chat Bahamut says, or like Ocarina of Time when her innocent, happily giggling. Exactly like her her expressions. Exactly. Like each character was just more expressive, like in past other games, especially in Breath of the Wild, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on. So we all know, of course, in past Zelda games, like in Ocarina of Time, in Twilight Princess, we've explored like a massive land of Hyrule. But when Anuma and Mr. Fujibayashi and the team announced that this game was going to have like a world of Hyrule that was much bigger than Twilight Princess Ocarina of Times. I want to ask this question to both of you. What were y'all thought? How did you guys feel when y'all explored like the entirety of the land of Hyrule? And what are some of your favorite places to go to? So, Sora?
One of my thoughts when I heard about how big the world was going to be was, can the Wii U really handle that? Let's be real, could it? Evidently it can, though.
Yeah.
Like, I actually played some of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and it is surprisingly stable on the Wii U. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
But like, as far as some of my favorite places to go in Breath of the Wild, one of them has to be Zora's Domain.
Yes.
I freaking love Zora's Domain in Breath of the Wild. It is such a beautiful place.
Absolutely. Also, honestly, I definitely love the design for Zora's Domain. Like, you guys can definitely tell, like, they took a lot of inspiration from, like, Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess's version of Twilight Princess of Zora's Domain, but they tweaked it up just a little bit to make it more prettier. Even though, of course, the other two were very pretty as well.
Yeah, but like Breath of the Wild, it really captured the aesthetic of both of them perfectly. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I also think Sidon's one of my favorite characters in the game, so that's another reason why I like going there as well.
Yes.
Because I've said this many times, but Sidon literally reminds me so much of Might Guy from Naruto. He does the same gestures as him and everything. Like, I'm not even joking. He just the same freaking smile, the same teeth shine and everything. And I'm just like, yeah, you are this game's version of Might Guy.
I mean, you gotta love everyone's favorite Sora himbo. Of course, one thing real quick, I definitely want to show this off, but I actually do have another signed autograph from, of course, Sidon himself. So there is a signed autograph from Sidon's voice actor. So big shout out to him.
Yeah. Also, Snoko coming in here with the Sidon emotes. I love it.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's just perfect. That's just perfect. But welcome in, Snoko. T-Shaw.
Yes, welcome in, Snoko.
T-Shaw, what were your thoughts when you got to explore the massive land of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild? And what were some of your places that you loved visiting in the game?
Ooh, I feel like I really loved exploring the whole world. Just like like the whole time that I played it, I wanted to explore like every nook and cranny that I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
And just see like what things I could unravel, and yet I still haven't found everything, of course. But just but that just kind of gives to the testament of how much like detail and love that they put into it, and just stuff like that. But just I later on though, I sometimes got the thought that like sometimes it was a little bit too empty in some areas. More specifically though in the Hebra Mountains.
Yeah.
More so like those, other than like a couple of shrines and just like stuff like that. That area in particular felt like way too empty to me.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly. It makes sense though.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally get it. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, when you guys do think about it, like some of the places in Hyrule, like, you know, not just in Breath of the Wild, but like in some past Zelda games were like pretty empty. Like for example, like Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field was pretty empty, as like during the daytime as both child and adult, but at nighttime for child, you know, you had like all the stall children come out, you know, and they would try to attack you until the sun came up. And then Twilight Princess kind of had some of its places to where some of the, like, even though it did have some enemy variety, like Deku Babas and Bulblins just wandering around, you know, there were some places in Twilight that kind of had some little empty places even though some of them did have some enemy variety. But with Wilds though, like, you know, I definitely agree, like what T-Shaw said, like the Hebra Mountains, like the cold, wintry, snowy mountains of Hebra. You know, I mean, it did have, like, some enemies there, but majority of it was just, like, so empty and so barren, you know?
Yeah, but it also doesn't help that Breath of the Wild as a whole just has a lack of enemy variety to begin with.
Yeah.
So
This is true.
yeah, that didn't really help its case, but I also felt like a lot of areas in Breath of the Wild, while they were massive, they were just straight up empty. But it has some really cool landmarks, though. Like, it had the goddess statue from Skyward Sword in there.
Yep.
That was not a sight I expected to see.
Oh,
sure.
I don't think many of us were expecting the like a reference of the goddess statue making an appearance.
Yeah, it also had the ruins of Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina of Time as well.
I know. That's so sad. That's so sad.
I was like, why did they have to include this? This is just sad.
Dude,
like, why?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, but when I first saw like ruins of Lon Lon Ranch destroyed, like it kind of broke my heart. I actually wanted to legit cry, dude. I was upset because it was just sad because like this was like the ranch that I grew up on when I was a kid, and I used to remember like taking the Hero of Time to like run around and like go talk to Malin, you know, go race Ingo on the, you know, on a horse as an adult, you know, being able to play the Super Kuko game with Talon as a kid, and then him asking me like, yo, congratulations, here's the Lon Lon milk, now how would you like to marry Malin, you know? Like I miss all those childhood memories, you know?
Yeah, and nothing was funnier than you winning that horse race, and then Ingo's like, I'm just gonna lock you in here and I'm never letting you out. Then you purposefully jump over the fence he's standing behind.
Yeah, even though we don't talk about Ingo, freaking dumb evil Luigi.
I'm just like, I'm gonna spite you purely by jumping over the fence you're standing behind. When I was a kid, I didn't know I could actually do that, and when I discovered I could do that, I laughed so freaking hard.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I guess you can say get wrecked, evil Luigi.
Yeah, because, like, all this time I thought I had to jump over the outside fences, like, above the walls, but no. I could just jump over him.
Also, real quick, we do have a question on Twitch chat. We have one from Paul who asked, was One Wrench ruined because of the attack? Was it in ruins because no one's been there for so long? So
I'm assuming...
No, I was going to say real quick that it was like most of Hyrule was destroyed because of the Great Calamity.
Yeah, I was gonna assume because it was attacked. Because if you wander around there, you'll notice there's guardians around there.
Yeah.
Just patrolling the area. So I'm assuming they destroyed it.
Yeah, it has something to do with the Great Calamity. Like you can tell, like a lot of places in Hyrule, like even when you visited some of the memory places, like some were just like in shambles and just in ruins, though.
Yeah, and also speaking of like exploring Hyrule and everything. And, of course, the Guardians. How many of you still have PTSD just hearing that sound that plays the moment a Guardian is around?
Yeah, just that piano riff, like... I'll
literally be exploring, and then I hear that, and I'm just like, oh, crap. And I start to panic, and I run away. Yeah, exactly. Fear the piano.
Fear the piano.
Although I think the piano has been replaced by hands in terms of fear.
Oh, trust
me. Definitely. That is my new fear.
They totally, yeah, the freaking gloom hands. The gloom hands from Tears of the Kingdom. Ugh.
That's my first encounter with those is a story for another day, but it wasn't pleasant. It was not pleasant. It's like select few people actually know my first encounter with the gloom hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just say I was prepared to have nightmares after the fact. Snoko knows my first encounter with those.
That's funny.
Yeah.
She was actually the first one I told.
That's funny. Anyway, for me, real quick. So I really liked it. I thought it was really cool, like how we got to explore the Breath of the Wild's version of Hyrule and got to do, like, we got to go and do whatever we want. Go do whatever we want, whenever we want. You know, like, and honestly, there was like a lot of things to do. How, like, for example, like T-Shaw mentioned the Hero Mountain, Sora mentioned Zora's Domain, and we also had a lot of cool places, like references to like past games, like Long One Ranch. We also had like the Gerudo Desert and like a bunch of other places, but there was like so much variety and stuff to do. As far as like my favorite places to go, I would definitely am going to be with Sora this one, and of course I loved Zora's Domain because just the fact, I get to see Sidon. I get to see that statue of Mipha,
Yes,
that was definitely
Mipha.
was one of the best places, though.
Mipha, best girl, don't at me.
Which, by the way, I definitely want to ask you two this question. And Tisha, I'm gonna let you go first. So,
okay.
How would you from best to worst? How would you rank all 4 of the champions? With Mipha, Revali, Urbosa, and Daruk. From best to worst. From your personal favorite.
Are we talking about like character or like their
like just
like
them in general, like how the champions are portrayed, throughout Breath of the Wild and so forth.
I'd say from best to worst, in terms of their character, I'd say Mipha, Daruk, Urbosa, and then Revali.
Mm-hmm.
And like for like their abilities, I'd go Revali, Mipha, Urbosa, and then Daruk in those terms.
Ooh. Interesting. Okay, that seems pretty fair. Sora?
For me, across the board, it's Mipha, Urbosa, Daruk, and Revali.
Interesting. So we have a lot of y'all putting Revali at the very bottom, though. Which, by the way, I'm gonna tell you this right now, T-Shaw. but you're lucky Riva did not hear you because Rivali is actually her favorite champion.
Okay, like listen though. Rivali is a jerk. I do not like him. He is a straight up jerk.
Okay, well,
I wanted to snipe that bird.
Okay, well, y'all are probably gonna hate me for my list though. When I tell y'all mine, and I definitely will give you my reasons why. But
okay,
real quick, no, yes.
I was gonna say, before you say what your opinions are, I hope you have your insurance card ready.
Oh, trust me, I already do. Y'all are crazy. But real quick, before I do mine, Paul's personal preference from least to most is Rivali, Daruk, Urbosa, and Mipha. Nice. So,
okay, so we're the same on that one. Nice.
Okay, so my personal list, like I said, this is just how I feel, and I'll definitely will get to that. So, my list from best to worst, even though I don't hate any of them, this is just how I feel. So, from best to worst, of course, obviously, Mipha's my favorite. Second is Rivali, and I'll explain why. Urbosa, and then last is Daruk. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Daruk. I don't hate him. I think Joe Hernandez does a really great job voicing him. I don't know, like, you know, I just, to me, I kind of feel like that with Daruk, like, I honestly kind of feel like I really love, like, his hardiness, and, like, no pun intended, like, just, like, you know, like, having that hearty laughter in his, like, to me, I just feel like there wasn't much going on with Daruk, though, but that doesn't mean I don't hate him, though. Now, my reason why for Rivali beating at second, though, and just hear me out. Just hear me out as why he's second. So I feel like, you know, compared to the other champions, like, I feel like, you know, like, even when you look at the Champions Ballad DLC, which I know we definitely will get to that pretty soon, but I really do feel like with Rivali, there was kind of like a growth to him, because, you know, like, definitely going back to I did talk about this in my Triforce City series, but Rivali definitely had a big growth on him. Like, at first he started off as, like, you know, this Rito, to where he was like, you know, he was like a proud champion warrior, like, amongst his people. Like, you know, like, he definitely had, like, a lot of people looking up to him, especially, you know, kids, like Rito children, like, looking up into him. Like even Taba's own son, you know, Tulin, we love him, by the way, you know, even looks up to Rivali. And honestly, I would say, like, I really do think that it's interesting, like, how Rivali definitely had that rivalry going on, and, like, there was just, like, he had a lot of character growth of him. Like, he started off as this character to where he was, like, so arrogant, and he just wanted to do things his own way. Like, at first, you know, when he first met Zelda, he's just like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna be doing my thing, you know, I'll protect you if you need me to do anything, but just remember that I fly solo, so, you know, if you want me to do something, you want me to help me out, that's fine. But however, when it comes to this kid and this blue tunic, you know, you're not giving me a reason as to why should I trust him. Like, why do I need to trust somebody who can't do anything right? You know, who just carries the sword that seals the darkness on his back. So give me a good reason why I should trust him. But honestly, you know, that's what I really admired about Rivali, is that there was, like, a lot of growth into him. And even though, like, he really doesn't show it, like, you know, like, especially, like, according to, like, his diary in the Champions Ballad DLC, you can tell, like, you know, that he kind of does have a soft spot to him, sort of, even though he doesn't express it that much. But, like, you know, he really tends to, like, grow just a little bit, even though there are some people who don't like him, and there are some people that do like him, and that's totally fair.
Hey, T-Shaw, can you believe he likes the bird?
Yeah, typical fart knockery at its finest.
I know, right? It's just asinine.
Y'all are crazy. Oh my god, y'all are crazy. Okay, So anyway, okay, so moving on. Moving on now. So even though this is kind of like a bit of a mixed discussion going on, to where some people say it is and some people say it's not. So when we got it, when we were showcased the Divine Beast, a lot of people say like, they kind of do felt like dungeons, and then some people say they just don't. So starting with Sora, how did you feel about tackling each of the Divine Beasts? Like, how were they compared to like dungeons in past Zelda games?
It's one of those things where I'm a little mixed, actually. Like, I think in terms of concept, it was really cool, because, like, one thing that made them different from past dungeons is the fact that you had to straight up fight them just to even get inside them, because they want to straight up attack you. And you have to do, like, this whole cinematic fight with them and everything to get inside. And then the second thing that was different about them was, instead of, like, your traditional puzzles and whatnot, they were basically, like, super-sized shrines that you can manipulate using the map. So, I thought because of the fact that they were basically just oversized shrines, they kind of lost some of the uniqueness. And they obviously can't replace traditional dungeons, let's be real.
Right.
But I think in terms of originality, though, they were pretty cool. Because you're exploring this massive, oversized robotic creature that was once a tool for the champions. And knowing what's at stake, you have to literally, like, get it under control, or it's just going to keep, causing havoc and chaos wherever it's at. Because it is literally possessed by a bunch of malice and a different version of Calamity Ganon, which my take on that is I kind of wish in terms of like the bosses there was a little bit more of a variety in terms of that. Instead of just different versions of Ganon, we had like a different thing entirely. Instead of Water Blight Ganon, Fire Blight Ganon, Thunder Blight Ganon, Wind Blight Ganon. It's literally just a bunch of Blight Ganons that all spawn from Calamity Ganon, which I'll get my thoughts on Calamity Ganon later, but it just kind of felt like it kind of felt like it lacked some originality with its bosses and even like with some of its design. But in terms of its entire concept, though, I thought it was really, really well done. And so, some of the Divine Beasts were actually kind of tricky to take on.
Yeah, they really with compared to like dungeons, and I do agree with that. Like the Divine Beasts really had some like what you call it? They really kind of want to test your skill. Like they kind of, you could definitely tell like Anuma and Fujibayashi and his team. They put a lot into effort into it, seeing like like how we can kind of compare to this to like an actual traditional Zelda dungeon sort of way.
Yeah, like, they do a good job of testing your skills. It's just, in some ways, they leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But I do love the concept, though. I think the concept is really, really good.
Okay.
It just could have been much better executed.
Agreed. T-Shaw?
Honestly, I agree with Sora on pretty much every single point that he made. Like, I loved that you had to fight the Divine Beast in order to get in, like, to get inside of it to do the dungeon and all that stuff. I feel like that was a really unique take as opposed to, just finding the dungeon and walking in. Just like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But just like, in the term of like uniqueness, actually fighting it and the theatrics behind it too, and that you're teaming up with like Sidon and Tiba and just all the others, just like it like that they help you get to the Divine Beast. I thought that was like really cool. But just they were kind of hit and miss for me. Like I like that they changed up the formula a little bit for them. But just sometimes the way that you had to solve or figure out how to get to like the
the terminals.
Yeah, the terminals. Like sometimes those were absolutely ridiculous to get to. Like the one that spent the most time on was Von Naboris.
Oh God.
I
Oh
spent
yeah.
so long in Von Naboris. That's just kind of what kind of dings it down for me, is just those terminals being outrageous.
Yeah.
But just the concept of them and like having them be like a one-time thing that pertains to the story, I think they're good in that regard. But as like dungeons themselves, it's very hit and miss for me personally.
Yeah, and like actually another thing though, since you brought up the terminals is actually another reason why I feel like they lose that uniqueness, because it was fine for one of the beasts, but all of them use that same concept. Literally all of them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it's like the originality is there, but because of how much it's used, it loses that originality because they use it for every freaking divine beast.
Yeah, I agree. And then of course, when I started tackling the divine beasts, I felt a little bit skeptical about it. Like they felt different. Like, I felt like this was something new that we were gonna get, for Breath of the Wild. But when I first started like playing through and completing through all of them, like even after like we had to work like with Sidon and Taba, which by the way, real quick, when you said Taba, T-Shaw, the way how you said Tiba, I almost thought you were mentioning Tifa.
Oh,
I thought it sounded like you said Tifa.
sorry.
No, you're good. I just found it funny that I thought you said Tifa.
Yes.
Come on, Kokiri. Don't you know that Tifa is secretly a 5th champion?
This is true. This is
You know
definitely
that she's
true.
also a Rito somehow.
Apparently she.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently she can fly now.
Yeah, Tifa drank Red Bull. It gives you wings.
Oh God. Oh my God, my heart. But yeah, it just felt a little bit different. But what I would say though, the Divine Beast just, I don't know, they just kind of like looking at it now to 7 years ago, like it just really disappointed me, because like they were just all the same thing, but they were just designed differently. Because like normally, like when you walk in, it's mostly like, okay, like the spirits of the champion say like, oh, go to this terminal to go unlock a map of the Divine Beast, so that way you can take control of it and then find out like, how are you going to manipulate it, like, with Varuta, manipulate the trunk to like pour some water on something, with Valmetto to like kind of like angle like the wings at a certain degree to like get where you want to go, and like Nabor is like the little humps and stuff like that. And then of course, the different areas for Valrudania. But there was always something to where you had to like manipulate the Divine Beasts just to get to the terminals. And some of them were like, like what you two were saying, like they were just placed in like ridiculous odd places though. Like some of them were just like why is this here? Or like, how am I supposed to get up there? And all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
And then as far as the Blight Ganons, they actually felt just the same. Like, even though they were just took on different names, like they were all just the same, just with different combat styles. And by the way, I'm sure both of you guys can agree, and anybody watching this podcast right now, but you know what? Fuck Thunderblight Ganon.
Yeah, screw Thunderblight Ganon. That is the single worst boss in the entire game.
I fucking hate Thunderblight Ganon.
Oh my lord, I hated him.
I hate Thunderblight Ganon. Honestly, that is my least favorite Thunderblight Ganon. Out of all the Blight Ganons, Thunder is like my least favorite.
Yeah.
I actually rank Thunderblight Ganon as one of the worst bosses in the series. Yeah, I hate him
like,
so
honestly,
much.
You guys have no idea, like, how many times, like, when I first played through Breath of the Wild, like, how many times I've actually have died to Thunderblight Ganon, no matter how many hearts I had.
Snoga, Flower Blight Ganon is the worst. Oh my lord! Yeah, exactly. Flower Blight Ganon is awful.
You know who she? I think she's referring. I think she's referring to everyone's flower lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Flower
That's
lady.
exactly. Speaking of that, though, someone actually made a mod for Breath of the Wild where if you make the Flower Lady mad enough, she actually turns it into Flower Blight Ganon, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fun. That's incredible.
I was like, oh my lord.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
I do actually have one more tidbit of the Divine Beast that just popped into my head.
Sure.
I don't like the fact that once you beat the Blight, you cannot go back in. Period.
No. Mm-mm.
I do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, even if you miss, like, a chest, you can't go back and go get it.
Yeah, because, like, what if you accidentally miss the heart container? You're screwed out of ever being able to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Like-
you might as well go pick it up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's good to explore, like, every nook and cranny of the Divine Beast. But if you miss one little thing, you are restricted from ever getting that thing unless you completely restart the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I kind of feel like that took a little bit of inspiration from Persona 5 in a way, because once you beat the palaces in Persona 5, you can never go back to them.
You can't.
Like, ever.
It just like kicks you out.
Yeah, the palace literally destroys itself.
Yep.
So,
Pretty much. So, jumping into other things, so, this is kind of a part 2 question for the both of you. So, at the end of 2017, of course, which, by the way, I want to give a big congratulations to Mr. Aonuma and Mr. Fujibayashi and the team for actually receiving the award for Breath of the Wild for winning Game of the Year, which, of course, they announced at the Game Awards that this was Nintendo's first time having a Game of the Year award, which, of course, I think they also won an award. They won an award for Best Action Adventure Game, and I think it was also Best Direction. But on that same date, when Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year, of course, you guys know that Mr. Fujibayashi, Aonuma, and the team, they announced DLC. Champions Battle DLC is coming out. Master Mode is coming out to where the game is much more harder, and the longer you take to fight an enemy, whether you're fighting Bokoblins or a Moblin or even a Guardian or even the Blight Ganons, even Calamity Ganon himself, they would start refilling their HP, which I think that's rigged and stupid. But
oh yes.
But I want to know as a whole. Okay, so here's part 1 of the question. For both of you, do you guys think that Breath of the Wild deserved to win Game of the Year in 2017?
Yes, I do feel like it deserved it.
T-Shaw?
I agree.
Honestly, I definitely do agree that Breath of the Wild did deserve Game of the Year, because honestly, when you definitely do think about it, after all the work that the team put in, and even Aonuma and Mr. Fujibayashi on stage, they said they put a lot of effort into making this game. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was an interview to where they kind of used a 2D Zelda map from Zelda 1, and they kind of toyed around with it to see how they can actually implement that into Breath of the Wild, which a lot of people tend to forget that Breath of the Wild took a lot of inspiration from Zelda 1 on the NES, so where you can, because in Zelda 1, after you get the wooden sword from the old man, you can just go do whatever you want and just go do your thing. You don't have to go to the first dungeon right away. You can just go kill an enemy, go find some secrets, or go do something,
Yeah, or you could go off the beaten path and accidentally find the third dungeon before you even find the first one.
Exactly. Okay. Now, the second half of this question, for both of you guys, starting with T-Shaw, how did y'all feel as a whole, the Champions Ballad DLC? I'm the first half being, of course, where you would stuck with one half of a heart and being able to strike enemies down with the one-hit obliterator, being able to do like the 3 different trials for each of the champions, and even doing a rematch fight against the Blight Ganons based on the champions' point of view, with only using the weapons that they had. But most of all, doing, like, of course, the final Divine Beast in the Shrine of Resurrection, the fight against Monk Mas Koshia, receiving the Master Cycle Zero as a gift, and then last but not least, Master Mode and Trial of the Sword.
So overall, I really enjoyed the DLC. I'll admit I kind of sucked at the part or at the one hit obliterator thing, or a part thing. I did suck at that pretty bad. But going out and finding the 3 other shrines, and then just kind of getting more of the backstory of, like, the respective champions,
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good, like, a neat detail that they did, or just just refighting the blights again, but as like you said, the perspective of the champions was also really neat as well, because, like, that way you as a player could also could get, like, more of an insight, like excuse me, like this is what they had to go through, and this is how much they struggled and how they ultimately perished.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with you succeeding, but them perishing. I thought that was really neat, and the master cycle quote unquote divine beast. I got even more lost in that one than I did.
I did too.
It just, it was ridiculous. But
yeah. What about Monk Mas Koshia?
I really liked his boss fight. I want to say out of all the bosses, that was easily the best one in the entire game.
Agreed.
In my opinion, really, just like it for one, it's not a blight. It's not a blight Ganon.
Mm-mm.
That already made it better. And Calamity Ganon, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But just no, I really liked how diverse, like, his attack set was, and that it pushed you. It pushed you in ways that, like, the blights couldn't do.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, I really enjoyed the DLC of Breath of the Wild. So
nice. What about did you ever get to try Master Mode and do the Trial of the Sword?
Oh my god. Okay, so I never got around to doing Master Mode because just I kind of suck at Breath of the Wild anyway. But my god, I have never been able to beat Trial of the Sword. Never. I'm stuck on the middle. I'm stuck on the middle trial one. I haven't even gotten to the last one. Like, the first one took me like literally almost a year to do because I just could not figure it out. And god, don't even get me started on the middle one. I can't do it.
It's too hard. And then lastly, before we move on to the same question with Sora, how did it feel to ride on the Master Cycle Zero?
It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing in Breath of the Wild. Like, just normally I would use Rivali's Gale to just go up in the air and then just float over to wherever, and just I never knew where my horses were. I never knew where they were, so I was always just running around.
Yeah, you could just never. You just. It's kind of hard for us to forget, like, as to like if they're in a stable or even which stable they're in, to be exact.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, this just a side comment with the stables. You can go to any stable and get your horses out, so that's not that big a deal.
This is true, but how about you, Sora? How did you feel about, of course, everything in the Champions Ballad DLC, but the DLC as a whole? Like like being able to do like the one-hit obliterator, the 3 trials, final divine beast, fight Monk Koshia, your freedom of the Master Cycle Zero, and then finally Master Mode and Trial of the Sword.
Can't give too much on because I never finished the DLC, if I'm being honest.
Oh, that's okay.
But my time with it though was interesting because like the one-hit obliterated part, Amber actually kind of put this in the chat, and I agree, it sucked. Because while it was cool killing anything in one hit, you get killed in one hit yourself as a result. And I got beat so many times from cheap shots.
Yeah.
Like I got killed because a moblin threw a rock at me. I got killed because I tripped on something. I got killed because, I kid you not, I was trying to sneak up on an enemy and they literally used a coral leaf and blew me into something that was on fire.
Ooh.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's ridiculous, bro. That's just bad karma right there.
Yeah, I was trying to be sneaky, and then I basically got airbended right into fire. And of course, there were many times where I got sniped from bows trying to be sneaky, so that didn't help my case.
Mm.
But yeah, like I got past that part, and I did get past at least the first trial, which was the one with Mipha.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, having to fight Waterblight Ganon again, I felt this weird mixture of I'm excited for this backstory and dread. Because I'm like, I have to do this stupid fight again? Like, why do I... That's one thing about the DLC I was not a fan of. You had to repeat the same Blight Ganon boss fights again, and I didn't like them to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fact that you have to do them again, I felt was a little lazy and also unnecessary. But I get why they did it. I just didn't like that approach.
Yeah.
It was just annoying having to redo them all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which I ended up not doing.
How about your experience with Monk Koshia?
I never got to Muskoshia because you have to complete. You have to complete that part of the DLC to even get to him, and so I never got to him. Which the only reason I never got to him though is because I was on, I think, the one for Rivali, and I had to find this dragon and then like shoot it.
Yeah.
I found the dragon, but I cannot get close enough to shoot the dang thing.
Hey. Well, you know what? One of these days you will get there, right, chat? Right? Anyone on Twitch chat? We all believe in Sora, right, T-Shaw?
Yes.
We believe in Sora that he's gonna get to Mount Koshia one day.
Yeah, I do want to get to that, and I want to get the Master Cycle Zero because I've heard that the Master Cycle Zero is so freaking fun, and I really want it.
Oh, it is fun, and honestly, I want to add this. I thought it was really cool and interesting that they actually added that as a rideable vehicle in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That was really cool.
That was
secretly placing bets. Wow, Paw, wow.
Yeah, that's just how he is. But the DLC as a whole, I actually thought it was like kind of like worth like the package though. Like to me, it definitely was a package though. Kind of like with the whole thing, like how they kind of carried, like kind of like how the Remind DLC definitely carried Kingdom Hearts 3 as a whole.
Yeah.
Like it helped, this DLC as a whole helped carry like Breath of the Wild on his back, and I thought everything was cool. Like doing like the one-hit obliterator challenge where they kind of like test your skills as like a gamer and like, you know, definitely like what you've learned so far from waking up in the Shrine of Resurrection to like leaving the Great Plateau, and like, you know, like there was just like I love like being able to learn about like the backstory for like each of the champions, you know, before they actually met their demise, and like, and of course like even being able to read about them in their diaries, which I think that was really neat. Fighting Monk Koshia, to me, I will say he was the true final boss of Breath of the Wild than Calamity Ganon was, because to me it was like, you know, like this was your final trial, like he literally took, like his moveset was like basically like a lot of things that you, the player, learned from the beginning. So he pretty much tested you, like saying like, do you remember like how like Thunderblade Ganon can like go quick at a few seconds, go like 1, 2, 3 swipe, Well, Mas Kushia also did that too. But I found it was really interesting. Trial of the Sword felt ridiculously hard, especially Master Mode, because like I said, like I thought it was rigged and bullshit. Like how the enemies and even the bosses you fight, like even the enemy, like even like the bigger bosses that you would fight on the field, like the Hinoxes, like they would have their health bars refilled as you fought them. So if you're taking too long, they're gonna keep refilling their health bar. You're gonna have to keep wailing on them. And the thing is, they kind of want you to be quick on like killing enemies and bosses, especially the Guardians, before their health bar gets refilled. And I thought I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, for my thoughts on Trial of the Sword and Master Mode, I never got to finish Trial of the Sword either, for pretty much the same reason as T-Shaw.
Yeah, I haven't finished Trial of the Sword either. I'm going to be honest with you, I have not finished it either.
Master Mode, though, was a trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if anybody here plans on watching this podcast, if you plan on doing Master Mode, the only thing the three of us can tell you is good luck.
Master Mode will force you to get good. I'm gonna give a couple of examples. You kind of briefly touched up on this, but like the Guardians, those things are stupid in Master Mode because they are constantly shooting at you, so you're not able to properly take your time fighting them unless you have an ancient arrow. But I mean, that one shots everything anyway. But like, since they're constantly shooting at you, and you not being able to take your time with them, they're gonna constantly heal, and you're with you taking double damage, they can almost one shot kill you anyway.
Oh yeah.
So that doesn't help. But with some of the shrines, even I struggled in Master Mode because there was literally one shrine I was in. I was trying to get past these two little mini guardian robots. One was shooting at me and one was swinging at me. I had to get good at dodging the one swinging at me while perfect guarding the one shooting at me simultaneously, just so I could beat them stupid things. It was aggravating.
Damn.
Oh my god, and a major test of strengths too. Just like I haven't done Master Mode yet, but just like I struggled hard on those normally.
Oh, don't even get me started on the major test of strength in Master Mode.
Yeah, they were sort of. Which, by the way, just kind of add this on real quick. How did you guys feel about the shrines as a whole?
As a whole, I liked the shrines, but there were so freaking many of them.
Yep, 120 to complete.
Yeah.
One of my gripes with the shrines is a lot of them were literally repeats, especially with the trial ones, like the major test of strength, moderate test of strength, so on and so forth. Those, I felt like there didn't need to be that many of those, to be honest. So as a result, there was like 120 shrines that weren't really that unique. Which, granted, there were some shrines that were very unique, but I just felt like with how many of them there should have been either more variety in terms of the contents of the shrine, or less shrines overall.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two.
T-Shaw?
My thing, yeah, like there were honestly way too many shrines. Like they were good, but just same thing with Sora. Like there were too many repeats. But there's one shrine in particular. I want to say it's in Korok Forest. I'm forgetting which one it is, but it's just it has something to do with the stars or something like that.
Oh, I know exactly which one
Actually,
you're talking about.
Paul just said it in Twitch chat. The stars guide your path.
Oh my god, I hated that one so much. And honestly, some of the shrines too made literally no sense. No sense. And I could not figure it out to save my life.
Yeah, but like that one in particular, I agree with you. I hated that shrine. That was probably my single least favorite shrine in the game.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And even the thing is, I agree with y'all. Like, I feel like there could have been like very little, but there was just like too many shrines. But most of all, like I get with what you guys were saying as well, but there were like too many repeats. But they're like saying like oh, here's like a minor test of strength or a major test of strength, and some of them just felt pretty short. It's like, oh, You found a shrine, enter it. Oh, by the way, you don't have to do anything. There's just a chest right there. Open it, go interact with the monk statue, and then you can leave.
Well, see, those I didn't mind because they actually made those, they made it to where you had to earn those. Because, like, the puzzle was just getting to the shrine, and the contents of the shrine was your reward. So those I didn't mind too much.
Yeah.
It's when you go into a shrine and there's literally, it's another repeat of one you've done like 5 times already. That's when they annoy me. And like T-Shaw said, some of them made no sense at all.
Oh yeah, some of them mostly didn't make any sense at all, period.
Like the stupid stars that got your path one, but I digress.
Yeah.
There's another one that I'm thinking of, but oh my god, I don't remember the name, or God forbid where it is. But it's like you have to light all the torches before the water extinguishes them.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you know
that.
what? I think I know what you're talking about, T-Shaw. There was one similar to that, where there was like these torches on this rotating cube, and you had to like manipulate the cube on how you wanted to light them, and some of them would have like water spouts. So it's like, oh, you got to be careful not to rotate the cube, otherwise the fire's gonna get put out by the water.
That is literally the one that I'm thinking of. I think.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hated that one.
Don't get me wrong. The shrines were great for what they were, but just too many repeats. But I wouldn't say that it's like lazy game design, because Breath of the Wild is already a huge game as it is, so...
Yeah, I don't think that in particular is lazy game design. The only real instance of lazy game design that I feel like is in the game is when they brought the DLC and you had to redo the Blight Ganon boss fights and Calamity Ganon as well, but again, that's for later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which by the way, real quick, we got a couple of things from Paul where he says in the Twitch chat, the main shrine like that I remember is the matching the shadow to the spot on the wall, and you had to hold a snowball above your head.
Oh, I think I know.
I think I remember that one. And then another one he says, he adds on saying, when you had the shrines where you had to guide the ball down the flipping platform, you needed to rotate your controller forward, so you just turn the whole thing upside down and flip it across.
Yeah, because if you try to do those legitimately, it is frustrating. So I literally cheesed that by doing what he did and just flipping the entire freaking maze upside down and flinging it up to where I needed it to go.
That was crazy. That was crazy. And then, speaking of Calamity Ganon, now we actually are going to get to him now. So, over the past several years, we've had a lot of, numerous villains among the entire Zelda series. And honestly, even before Tears of the Kingdom came out, we haven't had like Ganondorf was absent in Zelda games for a long time after Twilight Princess came out. And in games like Link Between Worlds, we had Ganon here and there and so forth. But how did you guys feel about Calamity Ganon? But real quick, I will definitely but I agree with y'all. There was a lot going on with the shrines. But anyway, but starting with Sora, how did you feel about Calamity Ganon as a whole? From learning about him to doing the entire boss fight against him.
So, the concept of learning about Calamity Ganon, I thought the whole thing was interesting, but also a little frustrating. Because what little bit you get learning about Calamity Ganon in the story was good, but I don't feel like they fleshed it out that well.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of feels like there's some pieces missing. With how did Calamity Ganon even come to exist? Being one of them, they never explain that. It's like he's just there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, but the stuff that he pulls, I think was super dark. To be honest, because he's literally possessing all of these things that you're supposed to use to fight against him and literally murdering everybody.
Yeah.
Which I thought was crazy. But where a lot of that falls apart is, again, they don't explain that. And two, the execution of the boss fight was not great.
Mm-hmm.
Because, here's the thing. You can make the boss fight easier by doing all the Divine Beasts, and the Divine Beast will literally shoot down half of his health bar.
Yep, they
But
do that.
otherwise, you can make it harder by ignoring them and just going straight to them. But there's a consequence. You have to fight all of the Blight Ganons before you even get to fight him, and then of course he has the full health bar.
Yep.
The first phase of Calamity Ganon I thought was okay. It wasn't like massive or anything. It's him like crawling around and shooting stuff at you, and you just perfect blocking stuff and slashing him and stuff. So I thought that part was fine. It wasn't super great, but the next phase, I had major issues with that next phase.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't even a real boss fight.
No.
It was lazy as all get out. It was literally a cinematic finish, which, I mean, nothing wrong with cinematic finishes, but using a cinematic finish as a boss fight was a terrible idea.
Oh, I definitely agree. And then also real quick, we're going to Twitch chat. We have Leo and Kai finally back from their vacation. Welcome back, you two. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a great vacation.
Yo, welcome on in. Welcome back.
Welcome on into the podcast. And then also, we got a thing from from Amber in regards to what T-Shaw was saying earlier about the shrines. They say T-Shaw is thinking of Sora Ha Shrine, and I was thinking of the Julu Na Shrine. And then they just said right now, no wait, the one Kokiri is thinking about is the Ruko Ma Shrine. The other one is the same concept, but with electricity. It's been too long since I last played this. I'm getting into mix. Oh yeah, honestly, I'm gonna agree with you, Amber, and I think like the three of us here in this call can agree that I don't think none of us can remember all those names in this room, like Shokaka Shrine or Tanuki Shrine. I don't fucking know anymore.
Yeah, I stopped trying to like decipher the names of those shrines a long time ago.
Oh my god, but T-Shaw, okay, so you're in Hyrule Castle, you're in the Sanctum. How did it feel about taking on Calamity Ganon, learning about him, but just fighting him?
But
okay.
before
wait.
I was gonna say before T-Shaw says his, I kind of wanted to finish mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
my bad. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because I never got around to saying why I felt it was as lazy as it was.
Do it.
After beating the first phase, you're basically warped out to the field, and of course, you get your horse, you're given the light arrows and everything, and you're literally riding around, just shooting the little light arrow points, but it's impossible for Calamity Ganon to hit you, because, again, it's literally staged. You have to shoot everything. It's also impossible to miss some stupid things, at least for me it was. And I don't know, if it was cool in terms of writing, but in terms of execution, I hated it. Because I'm just like, where's the challenge here? What's the point in this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just wasn't good. It could have been so much better.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do agree.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my main thing. I just didn't like the fact that it was cinematic and staged to the point where there was nothing to it.
Yeah, there was like not much going on in there. T-Shaw.
Okay, so kind of going back to like the trailers and things like that, when they started to like first talk about Calamity Ganon, I thought to myself, is this like maybe I know that they said that it's Calamity Ganon is like a thing of Ganondorf's anger and hatred and all that stuff, but it also gave me like really huge like Demise vibes as well, like
from the coloring
because they do kind of have like similar designs, kind of sorta, like kind of like the flame aura and all that stuff, but that's just me. But the I'm honestly with Sora, like the first phase, it was all right. It was good. Like nothing too spectacular, just kind of like a test of what you've learned so far, and I think like if you're still kind of more of a novice to the game, like having the Divine Beast take away half of Calamity Ganon's health.
Yep.
That could be good for like novice players, but yeah, if you want that extra challenge, just don't do any of the divine beasts and all that stuff.
And then have to deal with all the Blight Ganons at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last phase, Tshaw?
Pretty much
like dark beast.
Pretty much the exact same thing as Sora. Like cinematically, it's great. It is great. But in terms of like a quote unquote final boss, that is not a final boss to me.
No.
Mm-mm.
It definitely was not.
And it just kind of switching topics to Devil May Cry 4, it has that same thing too, where it's kind of like Dark Beast Ganon, where that's not a final boss. It's just you hit a couple points and it's just over. Cinematically, it's fantastic, but just the fact that you only hit a couple spots and it's dead, that just honestly feels really lazy to me. Like
yeah.
they could have had him like be a lot more dangerous, because he's a big ass dark beast.
Yeah.
He should be shooting like lighting the entire field on fire. He should be launching things out of his back. Like make it more like, and give it more of that cinematic like masterpiece, maybe not masterpiece, but like visual thing, while also giving it more of that boss feel. Like, okay, I need to be careful, and like in pertaining to the story, if I die, then this beast is out and it's going to destroy Hyrule, since Zelda isn't holding on to that anymore.
Yeah.
Holding on to that big monster, like, but with it just standing there.
Yeah.
No.
Like honestly,
that's lazy to me.
It was.
Yeah. Because it makes you wonder what the point in even calling him Calamity Ganon is. Because like now that he's fully unleashed as like Dark Beast Calamity Ganon, you would think he's gonna cause mass chaos, or I don't know, more of a calamity. But no, just no.
Yeah, and I'm definitely agree with you. Like honestly, you know, when I first jumped into Breath of the Wild, and like around 2017, when I first got into Calamity Ganon, I was like, okay, you know, there's something going on. Like, I thought it was interesting, like, kind of like what Zelda said, like, how, like, he was definitely like an incarnation of Ganon that just gave up, which kind of definitely explains as to why he kind of looks that way, the way how he does right now. And honestly, in terms of design, like, it just felt, I agree with, like, it felt kind of lazy, because when you definitely look at Calamity Ganon, like the way, like, how he fought, the way how he designed, like, his whole design, they pretty much just, like, took all 4 of the Blight Ganons and just put them together. And it was just ridiculous. Like honestly, like, what you're saying, like, y'all were saying, like, you know, like, if you freed all 4 Divine Beasts, you can easily, like, you know, like, have, like, the champions fire the 4 lasers just to kind of, like, wail on him just a little bit and take out half of its health bar. And, like, everything else is, like, you know, like, okay, now you gotta test your skills as a gamer. And then on the second phase on Dark Beast Ganon, the whole thing was just disappointing. I mean, yeah, you know, you definitely, you know, earn, like, the light arrows from Princess Zelda herself before you save her. But most of all was that mostly it was just like a, you know, like, kind of like Tshaw kind of, like, described it in the whole, like, with Devil May Cry. It was more like a shoot to win kind of vibe. Like, oh, shoot, like, the little Triforce circles on Dark Beast Ganon's body just to win, and then go for the eye on its forehead to save Zelda, and then let Zelda do all the work and just be like, I did it! Like, I barely even, like, I felt like it wasn't even a challenge at all. Like, it's like what we were saying earlier. Like, to me, the real final boss of Breath of the Wild was Monk Maskoshia.
I have a comment on that. Actually, with Monk Maskoshia being the quote-unquote true final boss, I do agree with that. Why was he locked behind the DLC? That aggravates me, because like they basically give you the true final boss, but they lock it behind DLC. I hate that.
Yeah, that was kind of something. Also, real quick, we have Prince Leo coming back to the Hyrule Sub Club for 5 months in a row. Yo, thank you so much, Leo. You are freaking amazing, homie. I hope you enjoy your sub badge, your ad-free viewing, and your amazing emotes. So anyone in Twitch chat right now, can we get some of my emote spams in the chat for Prince Leo returning to the Hyrule Soul. Big shout out to Leo. Thank you so much, Leo, for everything you've done. You are incredible, though. But also, it is so good to see you and the princess back from y'all's vacation. But you were saying, Sora?
It just annoys me that they basically give you the true final boss, but you have to buy it. I don't like that.
That was kind of crazy.
Because one thing, this is kind of me going back to the DLC thing, but it kind of annoys me that some of the good stuff that could have been in the base game was locked behind DLC, including the true final boss. Evidently.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah,
that's just my 2 cents worth.
Okay, so I think I think we've talked about a lot of stuff about what we said and how we felt about Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to come down to our last and final question, which of course is definitely like the theme or like the title of this podcast is, of course, it's already been 7 years, like 7 years later, like, you know, like this game is like still loved by fans to this day. Of course, even though last year we did get a new 3D Zelda game with Tears of the Kingdom that definitely expanded upon with what people actually wanted in Breath of the Wild. That was supposed to be in Breath of the Wild, but they just put in there. So my question is to you guys. So like in terms of combat, story, gameplay, etc., how do you two feel about how do y'all think Breath of the Wild stands out to this day, 7 years later, as one of the greatest games ever made, even after Tears of the Kingdom came out? And we'll start with you, T-Shaw.
Honestly, even with like the gripes that I do have with Breath of the Wild, I still think it's really an incredible game. Like, just the sheer like vastness of Hyrule that we've never seen before. Well, it never really got before in a Zelda game. Like, the whole open world of Hyrule is yours to explore. Like, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And just like I think, like, especially with it 7 years later, and even going up against Tears, I still think it stands out really well, and I think it does some things better than Tears does, and and just overall, I think with all the love that was put into it, all the time, and just kind of like all the just beta footage and from what got scrapped to what we have to today, I still really think that it is one of the best Zelda games, and definitely, like, if you just want like a nice chill experience and just like one that you can do whatever you want in, then just, yeah, Breath of the Wild still does that really amazingly. So
I definitely do agree with all that. Sora, how do you feel? How do you think this game stands out 7 years later, even after Tears of the Kingdom came out last year?
So, the unfortunate thing with Breath of the Wild is now that Tears of the Kingdom exists, it is doomed to be compared to Tears of the Kingdom. It is straight up doomed to be compared to it. But like, there is one thing Breath of the Wild, I feel like Breath of the Wild does have this one thing that Tears of the Kingdom can never have, and that is the fact that when Breath of the Wild came out and it was released, it felt like such a magical experience because of how massive its open world was, and no one knew what they were going into when playing this game. With Tears of the Kingdom, you already had an idea because the whole open world concept was used in Breath of the Wild. But with Breath of the Wild, you had this big, massive open world, and it was the first time Zelda has ever done something like that. So this captivated people on such a level that Tears of the Kingdom could not ever do. However, there's one little thing I disagree with T-Shaw on. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom does almost everything better than Breath of the Wild. But that's just me. I guess that's me being a little biased. But I love how Tears of the Kingdom expanded the gameplay of Breath of the Wild. while Breath of the Wild literally established that gameplay, if you play Tears of the Kingdom and then go back and play Breath of the Wild now, it feels clunky to play. And I know this because that was literally me today. I tried to play some of Breath of the Wild today to kind of like get my thoughts on what I want to say for tonight. It felt clunky. Because like some of the expanded gameplay in Tears, I got so used to that I can't bring myself to really want to go back and play Breath of the Wild that much. But I will say this. There is one thing I feel like Breath of the Wild still does better than Tears of the Kingdom, and that is the Divine Beast abilities. Yeah. Like Mipha's Grace, Daruk's Protection, so on and so forth. That stuff I love. I think it's a lot better in Breath of the Wild than Tears of the Kingdom. Because like with Tears of the Kingdom, the champions powers that you get, I really only use Tulin. The rest of them I just don't use that much unless I'm absolutely forced to. But with Breath of the Wild, I used everything. Like I felt like they had more uses and whatnot.
I definitely do agree. Yeah, honestly, I definitely do agree with that. But real quick, I'm definitely gonna see what a few of our friends say on our Twitch chat. Which Leo says, buy a boss. Wow, that's an interesting route. Yeah, if you actually want to fight Monk Masquerade, Leo, it definitely requires you purchasing the Champions Ballad DLC and then doing everything that you need to do in order to like get to him. And then of course Leo says 7 years later already, time flows differently in gaming apparently. Oh, it sure does. Kai says a chill experience until the Guardians attack you. I mean, this is true.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Paul adds on to what we were saying, to where he says Breath of the Wild champions have so much versatility in terms of transportation, healing, attacking, and defense, which I honestly agree with that a lot. With what Paul said.
Yeah. I'd say like just kind of going like what Sora said, just like with Tears, I never use any of the other
the Sage's abilities.
I only ever use Tulin.
Yeah.
It just most of the time they just all got in my way.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, so I honestly do think like it does like Breath of the Wild does stand out pretty well 7 years later. It kind of like took, like a lot of things on what we loved about past Zelda games. Like we put 2D into 3D, but gave us like the freedom to just do whatever and to go where we want. Because like, in past Zelda games, like you were locked to like saying like, oh, you need to go here to go do this, go to this town to go do that, go here first, like, and so forth. Like, but in Breath of the Wild, it was like you had the option and the freedom to just go and do whatever you want. And that's what I really liked about it, though, like how it really stood out 7 years later. But like but compared to like how so with Tears of the Kingdom, now that it's definitely had its fair share of the spotlight since that game came out, I definitely would do say like it definitely did improve on a lot of things that we wanted. Like it definitely expanded upon on the story, because I definitely know like Breath of the Wild story kind of lacked just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But in terms of like gameplay, like there were some things that I definitely do wanted. Like I kind of miss using like the Sheikah ruins. Like I miss using like remote bombs and stuff like that. Even though I'm definitely am okay with like the hand mechanics, like Ultra Hand, Fuse, and all that. But I definitely am with y'all. I barely used any of like the Sage's abilities, like unless I'm in a pickle. Like for example, like if I'm gonna fight Gyarados in the desert, then I'll just call forth upon Riju. But everything else, I just use like Tulin or something, and then like Bo and Sidon, they're just there, so I just turn them off so they just don't get in my way. And
well, I see.
No, I'm saying I agree with you. Like they just don't get in the way.
Yeah, well, like, with me though, like I literally only use the other sages when the game actually forced me to, because there's other ways to get around the Gyarados even. Like you could throw Splash Fruit at them and it'll turn them into regular enemies, and you could just slash them in 2 hits. Or you can literally shoot them with like shock arrows or something, and it'll destroy them as well. But like now, while with Breath of the Wild, I felt like the Guardian abilities were better, or not guardian abilities.
The champions' abilities, yeah.
Yeah. I felt like those were better. I feel like the Sheikah rune abilities kind of lacked in comparison to the hand abilities in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because like you get more variety with those in Tears of the Kingdom than what you do in Breath of the Wild with the Sheikah runes. But there's also more clever uses with the Sheikah runes in Breath of the Wild. Because like a lot of the puzzles are actually built around those abilities, and you have to figure out how to best use them. Whereas with the hand abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, it's literally like, okay, figure out your own way to solve this puzzle. Slap stuff up together, and then boom, you're good.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of creativity, they're both really good. It just depends on what you're doing as well. So like when I'm stacking Breath of the Wild as a whole up against Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like it doesn't compare to Tears of the Kingdom that much, but I feel like it still stands on its own as one of the best games in the series. Simply because with the freedom of exploration and everything that it gives you, just on its own, that was something that Tears of the Kingdom couldn't recapture because you already had it when Breath of the Wild came out. It can't capture that same feeling again. But when Breath of the Wild came out, before Tears of the Kingdom was ever thought of, it literally just invoked this feeling of excitement that you just could not get with the past games or even with future ones.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like when Tears came out, you know, it really expanded on a lot of things that was lacking in Breath of the Wild. And now when you kind of go back to Breath of the Wild, like it just felt it feels, you know, I know we were saying this earlier before we jumped in this call, but it felt weird. It felt really weird to like come back into it, especially when I was streaming it for Triforce Tuesdays. Like it felt weird saying like I was like, oh, now I use this. Oh wait, I can't do that anymore because I'm not playing Tears of the Kingdom right now. But,
yeah, exactly. Like it just feels so clunky to go back to.
But yeah. I will say this though. At the end of the day, honestly, we have Breath of the Wild. Like Tears of the Kingdom wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Breath of the Wild. So we would not be here today if it wasn't for that. But anyway, catching up on Twitch chat.
One thing Breath of the Wild is missing that Tears of the Kingdom had. Gloom hand. Yeah,
oh yeah,
gloom
Kai,
hands. I hate
those gloom hands are just nightmare fuel. Paul says, what if the gloom hands in Tears of the Kingdom were the vengeful spirit of the guy that was stuck in the toilet in Majora's Mask? then I will never look at a toilet ever again.
I already have an irrational fear of toilets because of Persona 1, but that's for later.
But anyway, but definitely real quick before we wrap things up, I definitely want to show off that, of course, it has been 7 years, and like honestly, like, you know, and you guys here can agree that we actually got some really interesting amiibo. Like honestly, you know, we got the cool Guardian amiibo. Like honestly, like look at this, y'all. Like it looks really cool, like the way how they designed it. Like this amiibo actually looks so clean.
Yeah, excited to get mine this month because a friend of mine actually bought me that. Yeah. Along with the Wolflink amiibo.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this though, I'm
excited for that.
That was one of the first amiibos I actually got on day one when I got my Switch. And I also got these amiibos as well. Of course, you know, like with the Bokoblin amiibo, which I think was a little cool. The one with Zelda holding the Sheikah slates. Definitely one of my personal favorites. Definitely being the Archer, like with Link actually firing the ancient arrow.
I actually have a statue of that.
Oh yeah, and then of course
it's not an amiibo; it's a statue.
Oh, nice. And then also we do have the Horse Rider, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but did you guys know that if you guys look under like the hood, like of his head, like you actually can't, like they actually don't print any eyes on Link's face, and I think that's kind of creepy.
That is creepy. Good lord. Huh.
So before I show out the other ones, yo, Leo, we have Leo giving out a gift sub to Paul. Yo, Leo, thank you so much, dude, for the gift sub to Paul. Paul, welcome back to the Hyrule Sub Club. I hope you enjoy your sub badge, your ad-free viewing, and your tier 1 emotes. Yo, can we get some emote spans in the chat for Paul and Leo? Thank you so much, Leo. That was very kind of you, homie. And of course, last but not least, you guys can't go wrong with, of course, the of course I gotta carry them. I gotta carry the children. They are definitely our like children, but you guys know we definitely do have the amiibos for each of the 4 champions.
Yeah, I wish I didn't miss out on those amiibo. They
Yep.
are so hard to get now.
They really are hard to get nowadays. Amiibo's just pricey nowadays, you guys.
I hope with
Yeah.
Nintendo re-releasing amiibo that they actually bring those back next.
Yeah. But anyway, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming out here tonight and talking with me. By the way, big shout out to Tshaw and Sora. Thank you all so much for coming out here. And you guys, for watching us on YouTube, you guys can definitely go follow them over on twitch.tv /Sora850 and also twitch.tv /Tshaw1467. You definitely will catch them a lot there on Twitch. Mostly, definitely playing Zelda and also some other cool games. So definitely, please consider following them. But also, I definitely do want to thank you guys so much for coming out here today. As we got to, as on the day of this recording, we are celebrating 7 years of Breath of the Wild. But on the day that this video gets uploaded, I'm just gonna say this right now, and Tshaw, you can join me with this one. But happy anniversary to the best game ever made in HD.
Yes!
Happy anniversary to the best game in HD on March 4th. But anyway, guys, before I wrap up, I definitely do have a little video that I actually want to share with you guys that I made in honor of the game's anniversary. I actually did make this last year. You guys will see a lot of gameplay footage that I recorded. It took me a few hours to put this together last year. So before we wrap up, I'm definitely going to show you guys this video real quick. But by the way, but yeah, Tshaw and Sora, thank y'all for being here, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for being here. And now I'm going to announce the next thing we're going to do. Be sure to come back here next month, as ladies and gentlemen, on April 3rd, I'm going to be joined with some friends of mine on April 3rd. We are going to be talking about the mystery of the moon from Majora's Mask. That will be episode 3 of the Kokiri Chronicles Zelda podcast. So let's meet back here next month for the podcast on April 3rd as we unravel the mystery and the origins of the Majora's Mask moon. So
Yes.
Before we go, I'm going to show you guys a little anniversary video that I put together in honor of Breath of the Wild's anniversary before we go. So like I said, a lot of footage that you see definitely was recorded by yours truly, especially in terms of gameplay. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys so much for coming out here. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, or whichever time you're watching, and please take a look at this video that I put together. Enjoy.